he seems to have recovered well from it, and I think it's time he went back home.
You go down one road, and there's no turning back. If a breed goes extinct, it's gone forever.
Waste isn't waste until it's wasted.
My favorite place to shop.
I think that the kind of thing that we're doing could be done any place in the world.
Horses. Not what we usually think of when we think of endangered animals. But there is an extraordinary breed of horse, and sheep, cattle and pigs as well, that we are in danger of losing forever. I'm Richard Leakey. The many breeds of domestic animals exist in their distinct forms only through the long work of our forebears. These are animals which have been bred to provide us with their hides for our warmth, their flesh for our nourishment, and their strength on our farms and fields. But as some breeds become standardized, others disappear. The Royal Winter Fair in Toronto, Canada, the largest agricultural exposition in North America, and a chance for breeders of livestock to show off their prize-winning animals.
Oh, look at that limo over there. Got a couple of cows in there.
Jai Chipazak is on his way to the fair with some of his own animals. A biologist by training, an ex-filmmaker, Jai now raises livestock very different from most that will be on display, and he rarely misses an opportunity to tell the world about them. This unusual ram, for example, was all the rage 200 years ago in England.
Live from the Royal Winter Fair, it's the Deanie Petty Show on location.
Jai brings his rare breeds of domestic livestock to expositions and television programs to share his appreciation of these animals and to alert the public of the real danger of losing these breeds forever.
Come here, darling.
You're gorgeous.
This is an endangered breed worldwide. There's only 300 cows left in the world.
The cow of the moment is the Holstein, a large, efficient milk producer in increasing use worldwide.
When you look at the Holstein, you can see the size of the body, the size of the chest. These cows are bred for production. They're bred for the ability to produce copious quantities of milk. Almost 98% of all the dairy animals in Canada are Holstein. The Holstein is now moving internationally and taking over the world for the premier production. They're very, very important economically. And that's why other breeds like our little Irish Kerries can't match production. Just haven't got a place in this kind of system.
Good, let me take one more real quick, guys.
Back at Joywind Farm, their rare breeds conservancy in rural Ontario, Jai and his wife Gail feed and care for the wide variety of livestock that Jai has brought to the farm from all over the world. The chores are endless, and with Jai's passion for conservation, the number of animals at the farm just keeps growing. The denizens of Joywind Farm include Przewalski's horse, the last breed of undomesticated horse in the world, the Jacob Fourhorn, once an ornamental lawnmower, and the Barbados black-belly sheep. Children are regular visitors here. Jai and Gail show them animals they won't see anywhere else.
There's only 22 of these cows in Canada, and they're called Irish Kerry cows. They're a very good little dairy cow, very easy to keep on poor grasses with very little feeds. They have a very special milk, actually, that's quite different from the milk you drink every day. But there's so few cows left in the world that no one gets to drink their milk except maybe a few people in Ireland. Okay, gonna follow me now? We're gonna go around over here, past all these donkeys.
Buster, the rare Berkshire pig, always appeals to the children. He has hair that used to make great paintbrushes.
Now feel the bristles, feel their hair.
Whoa!
Like the other animals, the Berkshires have a long and interesting history.
The Berkshire 150 years ago or so was a pig that was raised in London, England as a garbage pig. It was developed on the waste products from the breweries, the flour mills and whatnot, to consume all this and produce fat. Fat was a very important commodity in early England. Miners were paid in fat as well as coin. 150 years ago, if you said, I'm going to breed for lean meat, they would have thought you were crazy. Just today, if you're going to breed for fat, you're crazy. So we had the genetics to be able to change for those new consumer demands. What's the consumer going to want in 150 years? We don't know. You go down one road and there's no turning back. If a breed goes extinct, it's gone forever.
But there's more than sentiment here. Like others in rare breeds conservation, Jai knows these animals still make practical sense, and he's not alone, sharing an appreciation of the highlands and these extremely rare white parks with his neighboring farmers.
These are all pasture-raised animals that they don't have to be feedlot. They don't have to take excess grain feeding, and they still do well, and they still put on the weight.
I didn't expect to see the white park when I first saw her. I expected she'd be smaller of stature than what she is. She's quite a good-sized animal. Looking across the field there now, she's a fine-looking animal.
A big frame to put the meat onto.
Yeah.
Under the circumstances, and the crossbred calves will also.
Jai Chippesak is part of a growing movement to conserve the breeds developed long ago, both for what they can tell us of the agricultural past and for what they can still offer us in the future.
People are quite well aware now of wildlife conservation, and they understand wildlife conservation, but they haven't really looked at barnyard animals in the context of extinction. They can disappear forever. This is heritage. This is our living heritage, our agricultural heritage, and we just need to do something about it.
And coming up next, a man with a better way to lower the mountains of trash.
Recycling is a method of disposal. It's one way of getting rid of things, and it's the most responsible way to get rid of things. Reuse or recycling, either one.
Trash has forever been civilization's constant companion, and earlier peoples simply moved on when the piles got too high. But we no longer can accept the health and environmental risks, and we're running out of space. Dan Knapp has a better way. His passion is spreading the word of reuse, and through a project in Berkeley, California, he's shown it to be simple, elegant, and incidentally profitable way to lower the mountains of trash.
Waste is something that we choose to do with things.
I need a new toilet seat.
Just because it's discarded doesn't mean that it's a waste.
You can save a lot of money. Hundreds, thousands.
Waste isn't waste until it's wasted.
Now, where are you going to find some little paper chairs, a whole bag of them like that?
At Urban Ore, nothing's wasted. 95% of the incoming refuse falls into one of their 12 categories of recyclables. As we've come to understand the Earth's finite capacity to absorb trash, garbage management has had to become something of a science.
Hi. How you doing?
For Dan Knapp, owner and co-founder of Urban Ore, recycling wasn't his first career. He started on an academic route. He has a PhD in sociology and was a professor at the University of Oregon. His wife, Mary Lou.
Dan's passion has always been in this. Before he was even in the business, he used to take his students on what he called his alley crawls and find wonderful things that people didn't know what to do with it. And he found a way to recover it. And he just loves it.
But there's a customer that wants a 22-inch, and sometimes we have them. So I'm looking. Recycling is a method of disposal. It's one way of getting rid of things, and it's the most responsible way to get rid of things. Reuse or recycling, either one.
It's a globe bar. It's a bar globe. It's got it all. This is incredible.
In my backyard.
If you were to have the job of liquidating an estate, you wouldn't go out and dig a big hole and put everything in it and cover it with 12 inches of dirt. That's what landfills do, and that's what they call disposal. But that destroys the material.
In Berkeley, California, where urban ore is located, the garbage is collected every 2 days. Reusables of all kinds find their way to the curb. Things here are different from the old days for Dan. In Oregon, he made a weekly trek to the dump. Salvaging was illegal, but Dan took it as a challenge to salvage as much as he discarded.
Well, in the history of garbage, people just threw things out their windows and out their doors, and they had animals to clean up all that stuff, or they just maybe moved their whole settlement somewhere else. And then we started getting dumps. People went to marshes, and they went to stream beds, and they went to lakes, and they filled them up. The problem with landfills is they mix everything up. Toxic materials get mixed with non-toxic materials. Light materials get mixed with heavy ones. Everything gets broken, smashed, destroyed, pushed together, blended into this mess that nobody wants. It doesn't just stop there. It starts to decompose, but it decomposes very, very slowly. It generates a lot of methane gas, which in greenhouse warming terms right now is about 25 times as potent as carbon dioxide. And landfills are one of the big worldwide sources of methane right now. It's just a bad, bad proposition all the way around. Landfilling is not a good solution.
This used to be the end of the line. Now it's only the beginning. Where once only rats and seagulls foraged, urban ore's pickers go through the stuff with a fine tooth comb. Dan Knapp expanded the list of reusable goods to 12 categories: plastics, ceramics, textiles, and so on. He feels we must view discards for their potential reuse, not for what they once were. Urban ore's pickers find new appliances, computers, even gold jewelry, but all of it translates into gold. In 1989, the company grossed over $600,000 by refusing to look at waste as trash.
And these are really cool. These are what they call the old cruisers. Look at that thing. This is quality. It costs you $50 at the store or more. $6 here. It's a great buy.
They love this place. They think that this is like a big museum in a way, except that it's in a way better than a museum because you can buy everything that's here.
Sometimes I'll come every weekend or one day after work because it's really fun, especially on a sunny day like this.
This place has got everything. I always come here before I go anyplace else.
It's rare that you can find any place with this kind of selection and used merchandise.
And I'm glad it's happening.
Yeah.
Recycle is it right now, I think.
It is.
That's what I call it. Good junk. It's my favorite place to shop.
I think that the kind of thing that we're doing could be done any place in the world. Everywhere in the world, there are these same kinds of goods available for harvesting.
No amount of reuse will solve the problem of what to do with the Earth's trash. And looking for gold in the discard pile is certainly not a new idea. But if we begin to look at trash as a source of perfectly usable materials, and if we can put a dent in the trash mountains because of it, then here at least we've approached that elusive goal, an environmental action where everybody comes out ahead. And now, Earth Journal's local hero of the week. In every community, people are pitching in. Here's one of them.
We promote the 3 R's, reduce, reuse, and recycle.
What do you make me say? Oh, I can see myself.
The Imagination Market is a place where people of all ages can have fun while they feel good about what they're doing for the environment. All the materials that are used here come from suppliers that are manufacturers or retailers, and the materials would all normally be thrown out.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Imagination Market.
One of the ways that people can get involved with Imagination Market is through our workshop program. Every weekend we have family workshops in our facility. We also, Monday to Friday, are hired to have workshops in-house by schools and other groups. And Thursday evenings we have workshops for adults only. This is the Found Art Gallery, which we introduced to promote the adult usership of the market. The gallery's mandate is to feature art which uses or promotes the reuse of reclaimed materials. When I work here, I feel that I'm doing something for myself and something that I can be proud of, and at the same time feel good about what I'm doing for other people in the community.
This is the African fish eagle on Lake Naivasha in Kenya. The populations of many species of birds are in decline, at least in part because of the lessening number and poorer conditions of the breeding and feeding habitats. Fortunately, the conservation of birds has been aided enormously by enlightened amateurs. In Ontario, in Canada, Kit Chubb has committed her life and her home to caring for injured birds of prey.
Birds are born to fly and to be free. The worst thing we ever do in our own society is imprison people behind bars. If this is the worst thing we do to our own people, why should we do it to anything else?
Back in 1977, Kit Chubb nursed an injured robin back to health. It was an experience that changed her life and that of her husband, Rob. Since then, they've treated thousands of birds. For them, the commitment is total. 7 days a week, 12 to 14 hours every day.
He might stay the winter. She, or rather think.
From their home in a small Ontario village, they care for every bird that is brought to them, many from hundreds of miles away. They'll take care of any species, but their speciality is the rehabilitation of the hunters of the bird world, the hawks, owls, falcons, and kestrels.
A little female kestrel that was shot in Ottawa with somebody having fun with a BB. There was a really big hole in her side yesterday, and there's the BB pellet there. That's a pretty darn big thing. We have had 172 species of birds. We get about 300 to 400 birds every year, and every case is completely different. I always greet the owls with a gesture that they understand, and that is when they groom each other in the wild. They groom each other around the beak and over the whiskers. And so if you stroke an owl in the same way, it's very reassuring for them.
This great horned owl is in very bad shape. It was brought in showing signs of severe starvation and with massive infection in one nearly severed foot, a result of being caught in a leg hole trap for weeks. A forester found the bird near death and brought it to the Chubbs.
The prognosis for this owl is very poor.
The death rate among the birds brought in is, sadly, very high. Birds are fragile under stress, and many do not survive their injuries. And where did these injuries come from? They were mostly inflicted by people, hunting, fishing, and trapping. But by far the most common cause of injuries is the motor vehicle.
People throw things out of their cars, bits of food go into the ditch, attracts small mammals, and the hawks hunt there. To keep a wild bird in captivity, you have to have a license. And if you don't know what you're doing, it's even more serious because they're going to die and they're going to suffer. Boy, it's never healed up since yesterday. I did do a good deal of drawing and painting when I was quite young. Had my first little animal hospital when I was about maybe 6 or 7. And I've been a bird watcher, and, well, up until the time I found boys, and then I got sidetracked. And then I got sidetracked again with marriages and children and that sort of thing, and now I'm back on track again.
Under the expert care of the Chubbs, many birds do recover. Wounds heal and bones mend in a matter of weeks, until it's time to go home. Not a trip the birds are always all that pleased to make.
And this is a great horned owl. It's had a heck of a collision. a lot of damage to the top of the beak. But she had brain damage for a while. He seems to have recovered well from it. And I think it's time he went back home.
Bird medicine and bird science go hand in hand. Every bird is given an identifying leg band, and happily, the reports coming back show how many of the recovered birds successfully retake to the wild. Going home, the chubs adhere to a strict rule: return the birds to where they were found.
They have family, they have friends, they have territory, they have home, and they've left it all. The least we can do is put them back where they started from.
Kit Chubb can only save so many wild birds, but her loving care and deep knowledge have also earned her a reputation far beyond her town, as someone committed to helping put nature right again. There are many simple things you can do to help the environment. Here are just a few. Refrigerate your drinking water. You'll be saving gallons a day by not running water for drinking. Keep your car tuned. A well-tuned car will drive down fuel consumption over 20%. Crushed disposables you can't recycle. It's important to save as much landfill space as possible.